morning. Welcome to The Morning Touch. I'm Darwin Campbell. The Morning Touch is brought to you by the Chapters for the Homeless and the FSBC in Glendale for your encouragement. This week we've been focusing on being thankful. And we're going to look at reason 2 for being thankful. And I hope, trust, and pray that by the end of this lesson, you will be encouraged by the information that we share. I want to go to the book of Jonah. When we look at Jonah chapter 2, we learn about the importance of being thankful. Jonah was one whom God had instructed to go and preach to the Ninevites. Jonah did not want to preach to the Ninevites. As a matter of fact, he wanted the Ninevites destroyed. But God got Jonah's attention. When he got on a ship headed for Tarshish, there was a storm, and Jonah was tossed out because of that storm. And he was swallowed by a whale. And he had 3 days to think about what God had instructed him to do. So as we look at Jonah chapter 2, let's see Jonah's response as he sat thinking about the mission that he spurned and walked away from. As he sat there, he started speaking with the Lord. And he said this: I cry out to the Lord because of my affliction. Out of the belly of Sheol I cried, and I heard my voice. For you cast me into the deep, into the heart of the seas, and the flood surrounded me. All the billows and your waves passed over me. Then I said, I have been cast out of your sight. Yet will I look again to your holy temple. The waters surrounded me, even to my soul. The deep closed around me. Weeds were wrapped around my head. I went down to the moorings of the mountains. The earth with its bars closed behind me forever. Yet you have brought me up from life, from the pit, O Lord my God. When my soul fainted within me, I remembered, and my prayer went up to you in your holy temple. Verse 8 and 9 is what I really want us to focus on today. Those who regard worthless idols forsake their own mercy, but I will sacrifice to you. With a voice of thanksgiving, I will pay what I vowed. Salvation is of the Lord. So the Lord spoke to the fish, and it vomited Jonah on dry land. You know, Jonah, after coming to himself, coming to his senses, recognized that God was serious about his message and his mission to the Ninevites. So serious that he had to be swallowed by the whale to be shaken up. And when God got his attention, Jonah humbled himself. And when he humbled himself, he recognized thanksgiving. You know, we need to be thankful that God can save us from a whale of trouble. Because oftentimes we find ourselves in a whale of trouble. We find ourselves knee deep, neck deep. We find ourselves sinking in the sand and the mud. Like Jonah, we run the other way. Instead of running towards God, we run away from God. I submit to you today that we have a reason to be thankful because of what God does for us on a regular basis. Yesterday we talked about how he takes care of us in many ways, how he's our caretaker and how he is our caregiver. Well, to go one step further today, I want you to know that when we find ourselves in a whale of trouble and we have time to think about the source of all of our goodness, we can think about what God does for us each and every day. Sometimes life treats us just like Jonah. We've been swallowed up. Swallowed up. We sit at our deep, darkest woes. We sit in our lowest, most depressed moments. We have situations where we have no food, where we have no money. We may not have a job. when it seems like there's no way out. Because you see, in that well, there was no way out. And Jonah had time to think about what God had spoke to him. Oftentimes, do we stop to be thankful enough to come to our senses and recognize that only God can save us from the perils of life? Only God can save us from our own mistakes. Only God can save us from our own situations that we find ourselves in. We need to be thankful that God can save you from a well of trouble. That's one thing that we need to recognize today. Call on the name of the Lord. That's what Jonah did. When he recognized and he came to himself, he called on the name of the Lord. And in calling on the name of the Lord, he humbled himself and he repented and he acknowledged that only God could save him. Today, we need to be thankful God hears us when we are rebellious, when we walk away from him, when we don't believe in him, when we don't give him a chance. We can be thankful that when we finally come to ourselves, we can be thankful that God will stop and listen to us and hear us. He does not turn his back on the outstretched hand that's crying for help. Let me say that again. He doesn't turn his back on the outstretched hand that reaches for him. He listens. He answers. We must learn. Like Jonah had to learn sitting in the belly of a whale, we must learn when it's time to have faith, when it's time to obey him, when it's time to simply be thankful for the things that God does each and every day for us. He is God. He is in control. Lest we forget, like Jonah, we hope that there's not a life-changing event like being swallowed by a whale is needed to get your attention or get my attention. We never want that to happen. I want you to live life being thankful that God can rescue you from a whale of troubles. God can, God does, and God will. Be thankful that God is on our side. When no one else will come to your aid, God will save you from a whale of trouble. You know, the Morning Touch is brought to you by the Chaplaincy for the Homeless and the FSBC in Glendale. We hope that you have been encouraged by this lesson. Be thankful that God can save us from a whale of trouble. God bless you and keep you. We'll see you again next time on The Morning Touch.